All right, I'm here, I'm back, and I'm alive. Welcome to another episode of the Mom is in Control podcast. So, I said, this is easy, right? This is what this whole podcast interviewing series is. This is easy. Life is easy. Parenting is easy. Well, today I'm going to share something with you that doesn't always feel easy. And if you noticed, I did not post a podcast yesterday, and this is why. I was sick, my kids were sick, and things were not getting behind. But as you know, when life throws you lemons, you make really good lemonade. And inside the Mastery program, which is my signature program that is now open for application, this topic came up of, what do I do, Heather? I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to take care of the kids. They're sick. I had a really good routine going. And then all of a sudden, one person gets sick and then the ball rolls and now everybody's home. And how do I function? How do I make things happen and keep the ball rolling? So I love this conversation because I think it's really important. It's a really important one to have, and it's a struggle that a lot of women have, and men too. So my first thought is, what category are you in? And what does this mean? How full is your cup? You've heard this over and over again, right? Put your oxygen mask on first before you take care of the kids. But guys, we have egos and we have guilt and fear and shame and all of this beautiful crap that lives within us. And what happens when we do that is we put ourselves on the back burner. And yes, even though your life can be very sustainable when you neglect your needs over and over and over again, it is not sustainable in these moments of what I would call crisis. So a crisis could be something as small as your kid's getting sick and you have to take a week off of work, to you get diagnosed with something happens to your husband. There is a family emergency. You have to fly across the country. There's so many things that can happen, right? Natural disaster happens and you have to move. There's so many things that can happen. So typically how people live is they live on autopilot. And so you're living, just every day at a time, routine. You are in what I would call survival mode. So there's a pyramid. I've drawn a pyramid. And I teach this concept inside the Mastery program. There'll be an upcoming workshop that I will be teaching on this philosophy. So if you're not familiar with the Mastery program is, you can check it out at momisincontrol.com/mastery. It's an 8-month intensive group and one-on-one experience. So you still get one-on-one coaching from me. And we're just going to rock your life. Every aspect of your being, we're literally up-leveling. This is an experience for women who want to feel alive, women who want to evolve how they live, work, play, and parent. So we're going to be looking at all aspects of you, your time, your money, your energy, your health, relationships, everything. And, the story that you've been telling yourself that I can't, it's just impossible, Heather. Oh, you don't understand my situation. These are all stories that you've constructed in your mind. And I'm here to get you out of your own way. So if you are ready to up level, you're so done with the excuses because I don't want to hear them anymore. And you're ready to create that new vision for yourself. And you don't even know how to create a new vision. That's okay. I teach you that as well. So wherever you are, if you feel called or pulled, tomorrow, Thursday, March 1st at midnight Eastern Standard Time, applications are closing. So head on over to momisincontrol.com/mastery. Once you filled out the application, I will personally be reading it, responding. And if I feel like you're a good fit, I'll send you a follow-up to get on the phone with me. If I have more clarifying questions, I will send you that as well. So this is your life. The model that I brought up a few minutes ago. So I want you to visualize a triangle. Okay. This is kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is Mom is in Control's hierarchy of needs. So you have a triangle, and it has 4 layers. Okay. So just imagine every inch or so, there's a different category. So the base category, which is going to be the biggest chunk, like the widest chunk of the triangle, this is survival mode. This is where most people live. This is oftentimes when women come to me and they want to work with me, this is the, I wouldn't say everybody, but most of them are in this state of being. And you can get out of this state of being pretty quickly. So survival mode is when you're, it's just daily routine. You're like, okay, just keep the kids alive, feed them, house them, okay, homework. Yep, we got to do this. And you're taking a shower, you're eating, but not regularly because you're just like, I got to stay alive, right? So you're in survival mode. The next category above survival mode is momentum. So this is where I can get people to very quickly, once they start the mastery program, you're creating momentum for yourself. So your pain starts to decrease. And what does that mean? Your pain and discomfort start to decrease because you start to get more organized in your life. You have different routines because you've put yourself back on your to-do list and you've discovered and learned how to do this so that you're not letting other things fall away to the wayside. In the momentum phase, oftentimes what I see, and this is why the program is 8 months and it's not 1 or 2 months, because you have to rewire your brain. So once you've created momentum for yourself, a lot of women will go, okay, I'm good, right? Like, wow, oh, good. I'm not walking on eggshells anymore. Things feel great. And then they give up and then they stop. It's like when things start going good and you're like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to practice this anymore. But the truth is, in order to achieve any results in your life, you have to continue practicing, right? It's a daily practice. And then that gets you to the next level. The next level is thrival mode. So this is when your brain has kind of caught on. You've created new neural pathways in your brain, and your brain has caught on, and you're like, wow, this is a new lifestyle. Like, I've created this, and I'm just a different person now. And then there's one more category. So oftentimes, I'll just tell you, in the thrival state, this is when all your limiting beliefs kick up. They kick up in the momentum phase as well and the survival stage. But this is when you really dig deep into like your childhood shit, right? Like things that really come up for you that are, when you're like, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. It's like all of this is coming to a head and is being put in your face. The next phase, my favorite phase, is the abundant creativity. So this is where you're living beyond your wildest dreams, right? So when women come in and they come in a survival mode, but they say to me, I've always had this ache to write a book. I've always had this ache to make a big impact and start an organization. I want to travel the world with my kids. I want to do all of these things. I know that in order to get them to the top of the pyramid, they have to go through all these different stages and categories. Why am I telling you this? So we have the survival mode, we have momentum, thrival, and abundant creativity. Because you may be in abundant creativity in your work, but in your health, you're not. And this is going to suffer, right? So you may be in the thrival mode in your marriage, but oh my God, your money is struggling. You may be in the momentum phase with your physical health and in a survival mode in parenting. So a lot of these things, and I'm going to be honest with you, one piggybacks on another. So you can't really get all the way to the other phase until you're looking at everything. So your time, your money, your energy, your health, your relationships, they're all connected. So if you're yelling in parenting, which is a common symptom of what women experience when they work with me. They're saying, Heather, I'm just screaming and yelling at my kids all the time, and I don't have time for myself. I can't figure this out. What's going on? Well, the truth is we have to look at, this is a symptom to a deeper rooted problem. It's not about getting your kids to listen to you. It really isn't. Because if we kind of attack it that way of, okay, great, say this to your kids and this will happen, you're still going to want to scream, but you're trying to mask it in a nice way. So let's get to the root of why you're screaming. And typically people are screaming because they feel depleted or they have anger and resentment towards their children because they refuse to take care of themselves. So now back to the main topic of this podcast, which is, how do I take care of myself and my children and my work and make sure laundry is done and make sure everybody is fed and meal prep is on its way and all of these fun things, everyone gets to their activities and yada, 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 when I'm sick? So there are three questions that I ask myself. So one, I follow energetic time management. If you're not familiar with this is, it's managing your energy, not your time. This is a whole module that I teach inside the Mom is in Control Mastery program. And the first question I ask myself is, how can I? How can I get my kids, do something for my kids, do something for myself, manage my work? Like, what do I need to do? How can I? So instead of going, oh, I can't, I'm defeated, life sucks, poor me, I shift my mindset to, how can I? What do I need to do right now? How can I? That's the first question I ask myself. The second one is, how full is my cup? On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being you feel amazing, right? You're grounded, you're like on fire. This is 1. 10 is you're so far removed from yourself. So sometimes it's like the opposite scale, right? So I think of 1 as being grounded, like really solid, feeling great. And the more I move away from 1, this is where I'm just like completely disconnected from myself. So on a scale from 1 to 10, where are you? If you say like a 6, 7, 8, anything 7 or above, that's like danger zone, okay? So if you're like, my cup is empty, like I feel depleted, okay, just take note of that. The third question I ask myself, what are my highest leverage actions that I need to take? So these are things that I will typically journal about. So I'm going to repeat these questions for you. How can I? How full is my cup? And what are my highest leverage actions? So highest leverage actions are actions that need to get done in that area of your life. So it might be business, work, house, kids, and yourself. So highest leverage action for my work was, there was some important emails that I had to reply back to. I had to actually cancel some people on my schedule because I felt awful and I wasn't going to be of service to them. So that was a high leverage action because then it was giving me space to then fill my cup back up. Another high leverage action was to go for a walk, was to connect with a friend. It was to fill myself up because my cup was becoming empty. I felt depleted. High leverage action was to cuddle with my kids, making sure, we were drinking our liquids and that he was okay. I had to be present with him, right? So these are high leverage actions. So understand, and podcasting wasn't a high leverage action. I knew I would be disappointing. I knew it wouldn't be perfect, but it's not a high leverage action. Is it life or death? No, it's not life or death. But I also wanted to use it as a teachable for you guys. So this isn't about being perfect, and we have to drop that mask because when people are trying to achieve perfection, they're literally setting themselves up for success or for failure, not success, definitely not success. They're setting themselves up for failure. So what I've noticed is high leverage action when I'm really, when I'm journaling about it, I'm going, okay, I literally have an hour. What can I do? I always, 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 times a million, put myself first on that calendar in that short amount of time that I have. Why? Because I am holding the glue together. Like I am the glue. My husband is a huge support. So the adults are the glue, right? So we're the ones taking care of the kids. We're the ones doing the household chores. So if I am empty, I can't be of service to anybody. Now, I want to refer back to the pyramid that I told you. So if I'm constantly living in survival mode and then I get knocked down a few inches, what's going to happen is I am like now in crisis mode. Okay? Like there's a difference between survival mode. Crisis mode is like call 911, go to the emergency room. And so getting to the next level is when your life is in the green zone and things are going well. If you're in survival mode and you're sick, you're not going to be able to escalate to another phase. But what you need to do is to utilize your tools and strategies so that you can maintain that phase. So example, survival mode, right? You're going to get knocked down. But if I'm like, on my normal day, I'm creating momentum and I'm constantly thinking, how can I be better than yesterday? And personal development is a priority for me. Feeling full is a priority for me so that I can give to everybody else in a much better way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going. So if I'm in the momentum phase, or if I'm in the thrival phase, or if I'm in abundant creativity phase, what's going to happen is if I get sick, it's not going to set me back too far. And so the ultimate goal here is when your life is in the green zone, when you're not sick, when, lemons aren't being pounded at your face, you are maintaining this and every day becoming better so that you can have the sustainability. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, but a lot of times what happens is when things are going really good, that's when people rest and they're like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Oh, I'm just going to rest until things get bad again. And so what you do is, you've created a little momentum for yourself and then you stop. And then this energy is just, stopped. And then you head back down to survival state. And so you're always jumping in and out of these spaces. So I've learned this over and over again in my life that when things are going really good, that is amazing, but allow them to be better in that phase because life is always going to throw you curveballs. So be prepared for when it does. It's like, I always think of natural disasters, or I remember when that whole Y2K thing happened, when it was like, when the 2000 came around. And it was a little ridiculous, but people were preparing. They went out and bought these foods. I'm pretty sure they had like those underground shelters and stuff. It was kind of ridiculous, but they had survival kits because they thought the world was going to end. And so my point is you're prepared, right? Well, that's a little extreme, but you're prepared. And so this is kind of what I'm trying to paint this picture for you, that keep moving forward in your life. Yes, you will constantly be inundated with your belief systems of, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. My mother would never do this, or she doesn't approve of this, or yada, yada, yada. But realize that the more you move forward in your life, the more you can give back to everybody else. So because I had a few days of sickness, it didn't set me back that much because I maintained this sense of stability and momentum in my life. And then I'm constantly working towards how can I be better? How can I do better? How can I give more? How can I be kinder to myself? So I hope today's podcast was helpful for you. And I urge you, like this, this is a huge call to action. As you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, I'm not a bullshitter. My clients have seen amazing results from the progress through the program and through coaching with me. And, this is way different than therapy. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I used to be a therapist, but I also understand that there's a time and a place when you're ready for more in your life. And this is the next evolution. I'm going to show you, What is that life that you truly want to be living, whether you know what that is yet or not, where you want to be, how to get there, the support to get there, the community to get there, the training to get there. And I'm going to show you how to make things a lot easier for yourself. So if this is something that you've been sitting on the fence about, well, that's part of the problem. You got to make quick decisions in life to be able to escalate to the next level. So this is your call to action. This is your next level. So head on over to mamisincontrol.com/mastery. Check out the program, fill out the application, and I will personally read and respond. Thanks, guys. Talk soon.